Welcome to Sportscast, episode number 10. I'm your host, Charles Current. In today's episode, we've got some new Locksport conference presentations on YouTube, 2 new black belt pickers, several more giveaways, and I contemplate doing a video version of the podcast. All right, so corrections from last week. I've actually got quite a few. I forgot to give a producer credit verbally on the podcast for Sunseb for sharing his giveaway. I put it in the show notes, but I forgot to say it on the podcast. So I apologize to Sunseb for that. I had mentioned Starrylock was back, but I completely forgot to add his Shout Out Monday series and the giveaway that goes with that back into the list last week. So that didn't get mentioned, but I'll make up for that this week, I hope. Also, I believe I called Reed Witt's Locksport YouTube channel Lot-O-Lock last week. That's wrong. It's Lock-O-Lot. And links in the show notes for that. And I messed up episode numbers in the titles of a few of my social media posts and on YouTube last week. I marked it as episode 8, even though it was episode number 9. And I thank everyone that pointed that out to me. I went through and tried to correct all those. So I thank you, because I probably would have missed a few if you hadn't brought it to my attention. And the YouTube video last week got double posted. My media host is Podbean. They have a feature that's supposed to auto post a video version of the podcast to YouTube. I enabled it way back. It worked once and then it just stopped working. So I've been manually making the little video with the logo and uploading it. And then all of a sudden last week, it decided it wanted to work after I had already posted the video. So I had 2 for just a short period of time. All right, let's get on to the news related to Locksport this week. If you remember a couple episodes ago, I was talking about an article on the Quickset smart lock that uses Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and a keypad and can monitor the door. And I talked about how all those added features, the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, add extra attack surfaces, more chances for a vulnerability. Well, a couple of people this week shared with me some articles about just that exact sort of thing on a different brand of lock, but a couple of security researchers found that you could get into a particular brand of smart lock with nothing more than the correct MAC address. So it kind of highlights the fact that security is difficult. If you do anything wrong in your implementation of the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth or any of that, it can add a new way for somebody to attack it and bypass all the rest of the security that's on there, because these are not a layered security. It's not like you need to get the Wi-Fi and use the physical key. It's one or the other. So you just find the weakest link and attack that. And that could be the Bluetooth, it could be the Wi-Fi, it could be picking the lock, it could be just looking at the number pad and seeing which ones have the numbers worn off, and to eliminate the bulk of the guessing on that. And I admit that it's not likely. Burglars are going to go looking for the weakest link, which could be a window, could be the door, could be the back door that you forgot to lock, any number of things. But it just highlights that the more convenience features we add, we quite often reduce the security. And it's something to think about before you go off buying one of these things. And then an interesting article came up from PC Mag entitled, "How Security Research Can Get You Arrested." And I recommend you go read it. It's an interesting article about some security testing on government buildings, specifically courthouses, and how one sheriff took offense to it and actually arrested and started prosecuting these security people for a job they were hired to do. It looks like, it says in the article, when the 2020 sessions become available on the Black Hat YouTube channel, this is one of the talks that they will have featured on there. So it's something to check out. I would recommend going ahead and subscribing to the Black Hat YouTube channel. I'll have a link in the show notes for that, along with all the other stuff that we're going to talk about today. In community news this week, some of you may have heard the lockpicking subreddit got hacked. One thing I wanted to highlight with this is this, to me, was a clear example of why you should never assume somebody else has shared something with me. There was 2 people that shared this with me, and both of them said, I'm sure you've already heard of this, but since you said to share anyway, they went ahead and shared it with me. And if they had both gone with their instinct, which is, oh, I'm sure 15 other people have already shared this with me, I wouldn't have even known because I've been working night shift. I slept through all this. But I went on there and I picked up the official post by the mods, and I'm just going to read that to you here, just in case you weren't on there to read it. Today, as part of a coordinated attack on Reddit, a number of subs were defaced using compromised credentials linked to moderator accounts. Unfortunately, and hilariously given the subject matter of our sub, one of our moderator accounts was compromised as a part of this. We have reverted all changes that were made by the compromised account, ensured the rest of the moderators have changed their passwords and enabled multi-factor authentication on their accounts, and berated the affected mod for his carelessness, even though he was in the hospital at the time. We're sorry our community was attacked like this, and hope this incident serves as a reminder to our members to enable multi-factor authentication on your account and to use separate passwords for all accounts. And then somebody posted, to the mod in the hospital, get well soon, my friend. Nothing but love and good wishes coming from us, the members. And the mod that posted the actual post here said, don't give him too much sympathy. He just banged up his finger riding his motorcycle and was getting an x-ray. He's fine. Thought that was a little humorous. And I received a message from Lowell Forbes. He just thought he'd mention that he is coming up on his 1-year anniversary on YouTube, which is August 25th. When he sent me the email, he was at 281 subs as of August 1st. And he says he's hoping to be able to do a dual giveaway for both milestones, the 300 subs and 1 year. And he's trying to come up with a fun challenge that won't be too difficult, but will be unique. If you want to get over there and subscribe to Lowell Forbes' channel, and we can try to get him up to that 300 sub milestone so he can do a dual giveaway. And then Culper Woodhull sent me a message and asked that I share a YouTube channel on here. It's A Monitor Darkly. A Monitor Darkly is a 5th Dan black belt picker, and he really is good at picking locks. And some of his earlier videos were silent, just basically proof videos, him picking and gutting the locks. But he has recently started to talk and explain the locks and the process he uses. I would recommend you get over there and check that out if you are interested in high security locks. He's got great videos on a couple of locks that I personally struggle with. The Sergeant Kiso, which I have picked successfully on video once and only once. But he picks it, explains why it's so difficult to pick, what gave him problems, how he gets around them. He has it gutted, which is you have to drill things out to get this thing gutted. He's already done that, so he can show you all the bits and pieces, and he talks through that. He's picked and gutted the Miwa PR, and one of his more recent picks is a Fichet 666, which is a really cool looking lock, a very rare lock. But he has a bunch more on his channel. I recommend you go over there and check it out if you're interested in locks and the way they work and knowing how to pick high security locks. The OzSecCon channel has started sharing videos of their 2019 conference. There are a lot of really good videos on their channel, and the new ones from 2019 are no exception. I'll just name off 3 here. There are more than that, but I'll just name off 3 that caught my eye. We've got Self-Impressioning, The Locks That Pick Themselves by Matt Huxley Pig Smith. And if anybody is familiar with the tools we use to pick alloy locks, you have Matt Huxley Pig Smith to thank for those. The whole tip design that that I used for picking my Abloy, that's his original design, the silver bullet, all that. That's Huxley Pig stuff. They have one titled A Beginner's Guide to Safe Manipulation by Michael Maynard. And they have The Unpickable Cromer Protector. And I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, but it's an interesting lock. It's kind of it's a safe lock basically, and it's a keyed lock with all kinds of weird shaped wafers, and you have to watch it to get it, but it's a really fascinating lock design, I think. And also, Tool created a YouTube channel, and that's Tool with 3 O's, the Open Organization of Lockpickers. I'm sure you're already familiar with them, but they actually started a YouTube channel to start sharing the talks from DEF CON this year, which is called DEF CON Safe Mode, because they're doing it virtually. But if you go over there, they've started sharing their videos. As of the time I started recording this, what is up is the first set, but there's more coming up today. So we have the usual intro to lockpicking, their lockpicking village in a video talk version. They've got one called Key Duplication. It's not just for the movies. Hybrid physical security tools, and several others already. And like I said, more coming online. So I would go over there and check those out. And this week, I'm happy to announce we have 2 new black belt pickers. This is a very rare occurrence to have 2 of them in 1 week. And I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce some of these Discord handles that people use. So for the first one, it's XINZ. I don't know if it's signs or whatever. Like I said, I don't know how to pronounce some of these things. So welcome him as our new black belt who shot up the ranks at incredible speeds. Here's a quick list of his recent achievements: an EVA 3KS, ASA Twin Combi, ASA Twin 6000 with gins, ASA Twin V10 with gins, Multilock MT5 Plus, and an EVA ICS. So if you're part of Lockpickers United, make sure you congratulate him on that accomplishment. And then also the second one here, it says, please welcome our newest black belt at Snow. Here's a list of his recent achievements: an ASA Twin 6000, ASA Twin Pro, EVA 3KS, and ASA Twin Combi, and he made a homemade cutaway. And this one is also very impressive because, if I'm not mistaken, At Snow was the one who contacted me and said he's 15 years old. So, and already a black belt, and he made it there really quick. And I believe he has a YouTube channel, and I will share that in the show notes as well. Now, I'd like to take a quick break and say thank you to everyone that has contributed to this episode and to everyone that shared the podcast with others. Executive producers for this episode are Medler. He has a YouTube channel that he has started. I'll have a link to that in the show notes. And the second executive producer for this episode is Panda-Frog. He is subscribed to me on Patreon this month. He had a giveaway running called Mini Panda-Frog, where he was waiting for their new baby to arrive, and you had to guess various things about the baby, when it was going to be born, what size it was, stuff like that. By the time you hear this, the giveaway will be over because he announced on the community tab on his YouTube channel that Mini Panda-Frog has arrived. Both his wife and Mini Panda-Frog are doing well. Congratulations, Panda-Frog. Very happy for you, and I hope everybody continues to do well. I'll have a link to his channel in the show notes in case you hadn't already subscribed. Other producers for this episode include Culper Woodhill, Chirel, Starry Lock, Reed Witt, also known as Lock-O-Lot on YouTube for his lockpicking stuff, Sunseb, Keyless Entry, Lowell Forbes, Spooky Lockpicker. And special thanks to Medler and Panda-Frog for reviewing and critiquing a test video podcast episode that I made for number 9. When I was recording number 9, I videoed the whole thing and then edited together a quick video version of the podcast. It was very crude, didn't have a good backdrop or anything like that, but I went ahead and uploaded that for those two to review. They gave me some really good feedback, pointed out a few things that I could do better and stuff like that, and I really appreciate the honest critique. I'd also like to thank Faradawn on Apple Podcasts for leaving a really nice review. It reads, "Best Locksport podcast. This is the only full-time weekly Locksport podcast, but it is well worth catching if you have any interest in the Locksport community." So thank you for that review. And I'd also like to thank Starry Lock because I know he's gone over there and given me a 5-star rating as well. Remember, this is a community-supported podcast, so if you're getting any value from this podcast, if you're enjoying it, please help support it by sending any news, links, giveaways, events, stuff like that you are aware of. Send them in to me. You can do that at podcast@thelocksportscast.com or any of the other methods listed in the show notes or at support.thelocksportscast.com. And don't forget to share the podcast with your lockpicking friends. You can leave a review like the others did on Apple Podcasts or whatever your favorite platform is. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube, stuff like that. There's also, you can subscribe on Patreon or donate via PayPal. All right, and some resources that I should make you aware of this week. If you are interested in reading up on lockpicking techniques and tools, Starrylock sent in that there is a new article on the elvencraft.com website by Christina Palmer called Lockpick Recommendations. She goes over different types of picks and stuff like that. It's a good read if you are interested. And I actually was unaware of the Locksport references that are hosted on Elvencraft. I will have a link in the show notes, but there is all kinds of stuff over there. There are articles on lockpicking techniques, the usual, they have a copy of the MIT Guide to Lockpicking, LSI Guide to Lockpicking. Christina Palmer herself has written articles called Raking Techniques, Lockpicking, or Lockpick Metallurgy, and the most recent Lockpick Recommendations. There's links to books on lockpicking, links to different groups involved in lockpicking. Quite a good set of references and resources over there. So I'll have a link to that in the show notes, like I said. And then the tool.uk blog is also a great resource that I've come across here. We have lots of articles on there. We have competitive strategy, making your own tools, improving quality of lockpicking practice, lockpicking beyond the basics, why teaching Locksport doesn't make us less secure. Just a really great set of articles over there. So if you don't mind reading your Locksport stuff, I recommend checking out those two resources. All right, and on to giveaways for this week. We have, yet again, Culper Woodhull's giveaway for his 6 Master Lock 410s, and the to be deciphered custom-made pick is still running, and he should be uploading that last video here really soon, and that's the one you got to make sure that you like, comment on, make sure you're subscribed to him. But let's go over the rules real quick to just make sure everything is clear. He's picking one of the Lotto Locks every Tuesday for Lotto Lock Tuesday. Like I said, he's already done 5. This week will be the 6th. When he gets the 6th one open, he will announce the requirements for the giveaway. He's not announced them on the channel and won't do it until he posts that 6th video. And like I said, if everything stays on schedule, that should be this Tuesday. He gave me permission to announce the rules early, so you guys can get a head start. So make sure you get over there and get in on this one, because that pick by To Be Deciphered, I'm sure, will be as beautiful as the rest of his picks. They are little works of art, and you're going to want to get in on this one. So the giveaway requirements: you have to be in the Locksport community. No people jumping in just to claim a prize. You have to be part of the Locksport community. And as a way to ensure that, The other requirement here is that you have to pick a lock on video on your channel. And this helps to prove that you're part of the community, and it also helps to hopefully get a few people joining in making Locksport videos on their channels. He says you don't have to talk in the video, you just have to pick the lock. You have to like, comment, and subscribe on his video. I recommend that you watch, like, and comment on all of the Lot of Lock Tuesday videos in this series for him. And when you make your video, have the hashtag 2B pick giveaway. That's 2B as in Bravo, pick giveaway, all one word. I'll have a copy of that in the show notes, so you can copy and paste it if you want, so you don't make a typo. You have to have that hashtag in the title of the video so that he can find it. And he says he will announce the winner on the 14th of August if everything goes to schedule. Keyless Entry is having his 250 subscriber giveaway. I'm not going to go through all of the rules here because you're going to have to watch his video anyway, because part of it is guessing how many Z-bars are in a container that's on his video. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes to his giveaway video so you can go over there and check it out. There are a few different options, but the giveaway is open worldwide, so it doesn't matter where you live. Go ahead and get entered. It's going to be running till the 3rd of September, and there are 2 different levels. There's beginner and there's advanced, so get over there and check that out. Sunseb is still having his giveaway, the Son and Mrs. 20 giveaway, where they're celebrating 20 years together, him and his wife. I will link his video in the show notes below. It's pretty basic rules, pretty easy to enter, and the more people that get entered, the better the prizes get. He has already unlocked 2 of the additional prize bundles, and I'll have links to those videos in the show notes as well, so you can see what else is going to be included. So I recommend that you get over there, get subscribed to him, and get entered in his giveaway, because there's a lot of stuff in there, and it's more. The more people that enter, the more that gets added, so it could get even bigger. And the Bone in the Box is still having his giveaway, the hashtag #WinTheBone. I will have a link in the show notes to get you to his video where he announces the rules. That way there's no confusion. I don't want to mislead anybody on specifics of rules. And as I forgot to mention last week, Starry Lock is back, so his Shout Out Monday series is back under his channel. It's a series where he highlights a YouTube channel with less than 100 subscribers, and then he tries to incentivize people to subscribe to that channel by having monthly giveaways for Law Lock Tools gift certificates. I will link his channel in the show notes because there isn't one video to link for this, so I will link Starry Lock's channel in the show notes. Make sure you get over there and subscribe and follow this series and get in on that giveaway. I, of course, am still having my Pack Lock a Month giveaway through the end of 2020, at least for now. I might extend it later, but right now I'm committed through the end of 2020. The way you would get entered into that is by sharing news that I can use in the podcast. For every item that you share that I can use in the podcast, you get an entry into my giveaway. One of the rules also is that if you share the podcast with others on social media, you will get an entry. I'm going to ask that you kind of refrain and back off from sharing on the Discord and the lockpicking Facebook pages or Facebook groups, because a lot of people have been doing that and I don't want to be responsible for spamming them. A quick update on the state of the podcast. As I mentioned earlier, I made an experimental video version of episode number 9. I shared it with my Patreon subscribers so that they could give me some critiques on that and their thoughts. It was quickly edited. I didn't set up a nice backdrop or anything like that. It was just basically what you saw in my Charles Builds Crap July giveaway drawing video. Just me talking into the microphone, and they gave me some really good feedback, some things that I could do better. And what I learned from doing this, I learned that it's not anything I can commit to doing just yet. And here's why. It takes a lot more time and effort to edit. In order to get it to work out right, I have to do the video version first, edit that so that it flows good as a video. Then I take the audio out of that and refine it a little more so that it works as an audio podcast. Because when you're watching somebody talk, an edit works one way. When you're only listening to them, some things don't make sense when you're not seeing me, and it's hard to explain, but they can't quite be exactly the same, or you end up with a really choppy video. Either that or you end up with an audio that has some extra long pauses and bits that don't necessarily work in an audio version. So with my work schedule, I quite often have to work weekends, which leaves me with just like Saturday morning or evening to record, and then I have to edit it on Sunday morning or evening, depending on what my shift is. But if I have to do a video version, that's going to require some extra days if I'm working through the weekend. So I would probably have to slip the release date clear back to Wednesday, which would mean with the news cutoff being Friday the week before, you'd be over halfway through, you'd be through the weekend and the whole next week before the news came out, which makes the news a little stale. That's not problematic for a lot of the stuff I share, but for giveaways especially it is. There are some equipment upgrades I could do that I'm pretty sure would streamline the process and solve the problem, but they're expensive and I'm not ready to make that investment yet. Another thing I want to mention is I have a pet peeve when I'm listening to an audio podcast. If I hear the host constantly referring to something that is only visible in the video, if they're talking about something they're showing or whatever, and a really big pet peeve is when I hear, if you aren't watching the video version, this is what we're showing. I subscribe to an audio podcast because I want a good listening experience. I want the host to be talking to me, not saying, you should probably watch the video version. If I had time to watch another video, I'd watch another video. So that's just a pet peeve of mine. I am not going to go down that road with this podcast ever. If I do a video version, it's primarily going to be so that there's something else for the YouTube listeners to watch if they choose to, which would be me talking on a microphone. Not that exciting, really, but my priority is a good listening experience, good information, and a good listening experience. And the question is it even worth it? So I'm putting that out to you. What do you think? Do you think that it's worth me at some point going down that road? Or are you all perfectly comfortable with the audio only version? Let me know. You can get a hold of me on my Discord channel or Lockpickers United or Extraordinary League of Pickers, UK Lockpickers. Any of those, I'm on those as current. You can also send an email to podcast@thelocksportscast.com. Reach out to me on Twitter, Facebook, something. Get a hold of me. Let me know what you think. And all my contact information is both in the show notes and on the website, thelocksportscast.com. Remember, this podcast needs your support. I can only do this podcast because of your support. So make sure that you keep sending in any information that you come across that's Locksport related. Even if you don't think it's important or you think somebody else might have already shared it, send it anyways. There's a good chance that they're thinking the same thing. You can share the show with your lockpicking friends, share it on social media, share it in person when we're able to get back to being in person at tool meetings or whatever. If you want to say, hey, have you heard of this? That would be great. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts or whatever your favorite podcasting app is. If you feel so inclined, you can subscribe on Patreon. I do put out some extra bonus content there. Nothing too exciting, but it is there. You can also donate via PayPal. If you support the show, you will get a producer credit, and I will mention you on the channel. So if you have anything specific that you'd like me to share, make sure that you give me a link or something else that I can put in the show notes. Thank you, and remember, keep it legal.